everyone. I am Dietitian Stuti. In our social system in today's world, there are a lot of myths and misconceptions regarding cancer. And most of these myths and misconceptions are related to food or our eating habits. So it is very important that we get correct information on these doubts. On the occasion of World Cancer Day, we are here to clarify those doubts with the help of research-based evidence and with the help of our esteemed experts. So I would like to welcome our experts, Dr. Mridul Malhotra, Senior Consultant, Department of Medical Oncology, Manipal Hospital, Dwarka, and we also have with us Dietitian Vaishali Verma, Head of Nutrition and Dietetics, Manipal Hospital, Dwarka.
Thank you.
So, as we go forward, my first question is to Dr. Malhotra, and I would like to ask that, sir, that why particularly this research paper was chosen, and what do you think is the significance of this research?
Yes, so let me put some light. We have taken this research paper, it is a recent publication in Nature Communications, which is easily available to everyone. And in this research paper, basically they have looked into around 552,000 females who are originally from United Kingdom. And in that, it was prospectively studied for over a period of 16 years. And then in this, they saw that the incidence of the colon cancer was around 14,250. In this paper, they have correlated this incidence of colon cancer with 97 dietary factors. So it is a huge research. There are certain things that we already know that we will be subsequently discussing, but a lot of good insights have come out of this paper. And usually we are not discussing about these things because these are primary preventive factors which will help us that the cancer will never occur in our body. So it becomes very important that we disseminate this knowledge and let people be aware of this.
Okay, and Dietitian Vaishali, what is your points on this, why this research was chosen?
Yes, as a doctor said, so we can take an idea from this paper because there is a lot of misconception regarding the milk or regarding the fiber. Sometimes the people says कि broccoli नहीं खाना है, soya नहीं खाना है. So there is a lot of misconception towards diet. So in this paper only they had taken the 96 food item, and in terms of vitamin, minerals, riboflavin, calcium, phosphorus, whole grain cereals, there is a lot of factor which they explained very well, and that is with the use time of period which was 16 years. So yes, it's a good paper to discuss on that.
Okay, so we know that there are a lot of promoting factors basically that we are discussing on colorectal cancer, and there are a lot of promoting factors. So I would like to discuss on those promoting factors. So Dr. Malhotra, what do you think, how does alcohol consumption leads to risk of colorectal cancer?
This is a very important question. Alcohol per se, it has been labeled as a class 1 carcinogen by various international agencies that are doing the research on the cancer. So class 1 carcinogen का मतलब है कि it is clearly proven कि alcohol consumption से cancer होता है. Now how does it cause? Basically there are several mechanisms जिससे कि ये होता है. सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट और सबसे पहला मैकेनिज्म है कि अल्कोहल हमारी बॉडी में एक दूसरे कंपाउंड में कन्वर्ट हो जाता है जिसको एसिटल्डिहाइड बोलते हैं. एसिटल्डिहाइड पर से जो है हमारी डीएनए डैमेज कराता है और डीएनए डैमेज की वजह से म्यूटेशंस होती हैं विच इन टर्न लीड्स टू कैंसर. सेकेंड इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग है कि अल्कोहल जो है हार्मोनल डिस्टर्बेंसेस करता है बॉडी में. हार्मोनल डिस्टर्बेंसेस की वजह से कुछ हार्मोन्स बॉडी में बढ़ जाते हैं, लाइक एस्ट्रोजन एंड अदर हार्मोन्स बढ़ जाते हैं, एंड कुछ प्रोटेक्टिव हार्मोन्स कम भी होते हैं, जिसकी वजह से अगेन हमारा इम्बैलेंस होता है बॉडी में और कार्सिनोजेनेसिस यानी कैंसर का जो प्रोसेस है वो प्रमोट होता है. थर्ड इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग है कि अल्कोहल जो है वो ऑक्सीडेटिव स्ट्रेस कराता है, जिसकी वजह से बॉडी में रिएक्टिव ऑक्सीजन स्पीशीज जिसको हम बोलते हैं वो प्रोड्यूस होते हैं. तो दीज रिएक्टिव ऑक्सीजन स्पीशीज दे अगेन रिएक्ट विद दी स्टेबल कंपाउंड्स लाइक डीएनए, आरएनए और ऑल दोस थिंग्स. अगेन उससे डीएनए डैमेज होता है एंड देन इवेंचुअली इट लीड्स टू म्यूटेशंस एंड प्रमोट्स कैंसर. सो प्रिलिमिनरी ये 3 बड़े बड़े मैकेनिज्म्स हैं जिससे कि अल्कोहल जो है वो हमें कार्सिनोजेनेसिस प्रमोट कराता है उन लोगों में जो सिर्फ अल्कोहल कंज्यूम करते हैं. एक चौथा इंपॉर्टेंट मैकेनिज्म है जिसमें कि जो लोग अल्कोहल कंज्यूम करते हैं और साथ में स्मोकिंग भी करते हैं या टोबैको कंजम्पशन इन एनी फॉर्म होता है, अल्कोहल पर से एक्ट्स एज अ सॉल्वेंट. अल्कोहल टोबैको को उसमें डिसॉल्व कर देता है एंड बाय वर्च्यू ऑफ दैट जो इफेक्ट है वो 1+1 2 ना होके 1+1 11 हो जाता है, यानी दिस इफेक्ट इज एक्सपोनेंशियल, जिसकी वजह से हमारी बॉडी में पर से अल्कोहल की वजह से भी डैमेज हो रहा है और जो दूसरे कार्सिनोजेंस हैं उनकी वजह से भी डैमेज हो रहा है. सो दीज आर 4 मेन इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्टर्स जिसकी वजह से अल्कोहल लीड्स टू प्रोडक्शन ऑफ कैंसर इन द बॉडी.
Okay, thank you so much, because as we know that basically the trend of alcohol consumption is particularly rising, and it's majorly seen in the young generation that we are called as Gen Z or all these things. So it is good that they'll also get some knowledge. Apart from that, we also know that there are other promoting factors, and I don't know whether it is a myth or a fact, but we have also heard about red meat being a promoting factor in colon cancer. So dietitian Vaishali, what is your point on that?
It's a completely, this paper is showing the result if we are including the red meat in daily routine. So we are going to increase the colon cancer in India also, because nowadays red meat culture also has been increased in India. And how I will say it is going to cause, so when we are consuming red meat, so there is a compound nitrate and nitrites. When that red meat is going to digest, so the N-nitroso compounds banata hai, which is known as a carcinogen. The factor is nowadays trend has been increased for the processed meat. If you heard, even sir, you also know about that processed food, processed meat, that culture has been increased, that contains a high amount of preservative, and because of the high salt contents, that damage the lining of the intestine. So if that is going to damage, there is an inflammation caused. And even that everyone talk about the heme iron, ki okay, if there is a HB on the lower side, then we should consume animal protein because it's rich in heme iron. So that paper is saying ki heme iron, if we are taking above from the moderation limit, that is also the patient will fall in the colorectal cancer. So we should not consume the red meat.
Yes, that's right. But as dietitians also and as doctors also are suggesting, we also suggest to our patients that if you are having anemia or if you want to increase the protein intake, especially after some injuries or trauma, so doctors are advising, dietitians are also advising animal protein to increase the hemoglobin levels and to promote recovery. So is there any set level for that, or
see yes, I got your question. So basically we can include the white chicken, because if we see the amount in a mg, so white chicken contains 0.2 gram per 100 gram, and their red meat contains 1.2 to 1.5 gram per 100 gram. That is also not good, which this studies state. So in a one go, if we are controlling on the amount, we can increase, because there is a lot of option in a white chicken also, which we can consume for the to increase the hemoglobin.
okay. So now that we know what are the promoting factors, in this research it has also been discussed about the preventative factors of colorectal cancer. And Dr. Malhotra, I would like you to elaborate on the significance of calcium in particularly reducing the risk of colorectal cancer.
Definitely. So that was the highlight of this paper, where they have shown that supplemental calcium it reduces the risk of colorectal cancer. Supplemental calcium का quantity इन्होंने कितना बोला है? They said the calcium quantity to be around 300 milligram is protective, and it reduces the risk of cancer, colorectal cancer, by 17%. In addition to that, when they evaluated the dairy products and its association with the calcium, they said that basically this calcium effect, if it comes through the dairy products predominantly, and the quantified quantity that they have given is, they have given 200 milligram of dairy products per day. उससे जो reduction of cancer है, that is to the tune of 40%. So important point that dairy product consumption, and अगर हम उसको micro level पे लेके जाएं, so that actually the calcium and the phosphorus in the dairy products, that helps to reduce the risk of cancer significantly, specific with respect to the colorectal cancer. आइए जानते हैं कि कैल्शियम कैसे कोलोरेक्टल कैंसर के रिस्क को कम करता है. सो बेसिकली कैल्शियम जो है, इट बाइंड्स टू द बाइल एसिड्स एंड द फ्री फैटी एसिड्स इन द कोलोनिक ल्यूमन. तो व्हेन इट बाइंड्स टू दैट इट नलिफाइज द कार्सिनोजेनिक इफेक्ट ऑफ दीज टू थिंग्स, एंड स्पेशली व्हेन कैल्शियम इज अवेलेबल अलॉन्ग विद फॉस्फोरस. Maybe this is the reason that milk per se reduces the risk of colorectal cancer much more than calcium supplements alone. So this is one mechanism जिससे कि when we eat more of the calcium, especially with the dairy, it reduces the risk of colorectal cancer.
Even though, sir, addition to that, milk contains the lactoferrin also. So lactoferrin have that antioxidants property which is going to clean the free radicals.
So as we talked about alcohol being a promoting factor in colorectal cancer, but still, as we know, alcohol is a major part of our social system. It is being used by youngsters. I think over 18 all age groups are being using alcohol at some point. So do you recommend this? Is there any safe dosage for alcohol consumption, or as people say that wine is considered to be a healthier option than other types of alcohol like beer or whiskey? So would you like to put some light on this topic?
Well, it's a very relevant question in today's era. So interestingly, there is another paper that was recently published and it was in news all around the world. This paper was published in US Surgeon Journal, which is a very reputed journal all around the world. So this was an epidemiological study जिसमें इन्होंने अल्कोहल और कैंसर के रिस्क को देखा. बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग फाइंडिंग्स हैं इसमें. Number one was that the people in US, around 90% of them are consuming the alcohol, but only 45% of the people are aware that alcohol can cause cancer. So we need to improve the awareness level for everyone. Number two, coming to your question, about the dosage. There is no safe level of consumption of alcohol. Even people who consume less than one drink per week, the risk of acquiring cancer is 17% in females and 10% in males. So no level of alcohol is safe. Coming on to when we increase the dose of alcohol, when we consume more amount of alcohol. So as we increase the dose from less than one drink per week to 2 drinks per day, there is additional risk of additional 5 women to acquire cancer and additional 3 men to acquire cancer. So जैसे जैसे डोज बढ़ता जाएगा, additional people will be at risk. They also looked at the dose of alcohol and relationship with the breast cancer, and they saw as the dose increases from less than 1 drink per week to 2 drinks per day, there are additional 4 women who are at risk of breast cancer. Okay. This is about the dosage. Coming on to the type of alcohol. So some people would say that wine is healthy, wine is good for heart, but any drink, it contains certain amount of alcohol. If wine has lesser amount of alcohol when compared to the whiskey, but if you consume wine at a greater amounts, probably the exposure of the alcohol is same in the body. So there is no drink that contains alcohol is safe. There is no particular type that is safe for the body.
So the end product is going to be, as we have discussed, it is going to be acetaldehyde only.
Exactly.
Okay, fine.
So this paper has also shown that alcohol increases the risk of 7 types of cancer. Those 7 types of cancer are cancer of the oral cavity, cancer of the throat, cancer of the voice box, cancer of the food pipe, cancer of the liver, cancer of the breast, and cancer of the colon and the rectum, as we were discussing. So these are the 7 cancers that alcohol increases the risk. And because of this, Surgeon General has advised that there should be warning labels on alcohol containing beverages. The way these labels are there on the tobacco containing products, they are now promoting that these labels should come on the alcohol containing beverages. We don't know how much it will be implemented, but it is a big news and it is a big wake up call for everyone that watch for your alcohol consumption and curb it as early as possible.
So sir, as you talked about calcium and its intake related to the risk, reducing the risk of colorectal cancer, so we have seen in the new generation there is a new trend emerging known as the vegan diet. So what do you think that the people who are on vegan diet on a long term, do they have a higher risk of getting colorectal cancer?
So it's a very relevant question in today's era. I would say this paper has clearly shown if your calcium is coming from the milk products, it has reduced the risk of colorectal cancer by 40%. if your calcium is coming in the form of calcium supplements, which is probably not related to the dairy products, then the risk of reduction of the colorectal cancer is still there, but it is to the tune of 17%. So it is totally up to people whether they want a greater reduction in the risk of colorectal cancer or they want to avoid the dairy products. I would say if you are vegan by choice, I think you should try the milk products because it definitely has a better impact in reducing the risk.
Thank you, sir. That was really informative because it's a great message to our young generation who are blindly following the vegan diet, even if it is required or not. So, Vaishali, my next question is for you. That as we know, calcium is good and it is reducing the risk of colorectal cancer. How do we incorporate in that in our diet so that we are also meeting our daily requirements and plus we are also not exceeding the requirements and causing toxicity in the body?
See, so as as the research paper is saying 200 ml milk is sufficient, because they are talking about they has taken the example as a 200 ml. They introduced a 200 ml milk to see that result. So if you are including dairy products 200 to 500 ml, which we suggest to our patient as per BMI, as per the lipid profile reports, that is totally different scenario. But 200 ml milk can be consumed in any situation until or unless patient is not a lactose intolerance. If I talk about the RDA, so 1000 mg per day calcium required. So if we are not focusing on to protect the colorectal cancer or any kind of cancer, at least if we are focusing for the RDA, which is the recommended dietary allowances, so we should include the dairy products, the curd, these things in our daily routine. And yes, this paper state that we cannot include cheese and ice cream, because the next question from the young generation, even the children, ki okay, if I don't consume the milk, I consume the cheese and the ice cream, so I can get that calcium. So in this paper, that is clearly said you have to include the curd, yogurt, milk, these kind of thing. Apart from that, see that 25%, although in a daily routine diet also, when we are deciding the calcium, so we include 25% from the dairy products only. Rest is the cereal, seeds, like sesame seeds, it's a very rich in calcium. So to complete the RDA, there is a complete plan which we add in for the calcium sources. But yes, here for this concept, I will say 200 ml to 250 ml milk is sufficient. If you are not eating direct milk, you can use that milk to prepare the dough, I will say, for the chapati.
Okay, so I believe the essence of incorporating any vitamin which is might be considered a superfood is it should always be in a balanced amount.
Exactly, yes.
Right, okay, fine. So we have also heard, sir, that fiber is a good for colon or the intestines. So what do you think that how does whole grain consumption is related to reduction in the risk of colorectal cancer?
This is a very apt question, and this has also been addressed in this paper. So what fiber does is fiber increases the bulk of the our luminal contents. So when we eat fiber, it basically dilutes the effect of all the carcinogens, the cancer causing things, which are bile acids and fatty acids. So it dilutes its effect, and it also reduces the transit time, that for the luminal contents will be available to cause the inflammation for a shorter period of time. So it reduces the transit time. Eventually all the toxins, they are diluted and they are flushed out of the system. So that is the way where the whole grains and the fiber containing products, they are asked to add to the diet, and they reduce the risk of colorectal cancer.
Okay, thank you, sir. So again, same question. When we get to know that this thing is good, we always need an opinion from the dietitian that how do we incorporate this? We know we have to eat this. So what do you think that whole grains and the new trend, or we can say actually it is good that millets are on a rising trend. So how does whole grain, fiber, all these things can be incorporated into the diet again, so that it does not increases the toxicity?
So this question today we are discussing, but if you see the Indian diet pattern which we were following before 10 to 15 years, that was completely rich in the whole grain cereals, I will say, and that was rich in the fiber. But again, this study is also based in the UK, and there is a trend to increase or include in their diet just only the refined products. They eat only bread, biscuits, or pasta, pizza, or these kind of trend we are adapting from there only. So if we are not going to adapt those things, so we are preventing to ourselves from cancer and all, because sir will say about that colorectal cancer, if you get the patients, so I think the maximum number of that belongs to those countries.
Right. So basically, if you look at the incidence and the prevalence of the colorectal cancer, it is the third most common cancer worldwide, and majority of it comes from the Western world, from the United States, from the Europe, from the Australia, New Zealand, all these places. That is because of the dietary pattern. One important thing that was also noticed, that people who have migrated to new places, the incidence of colon, it changes to that place to which the people have migrated over a period of 10 years. So if you have a changed dietary pattern over a period of 10 years, your risk of acquiring the colorectal cancer becomes similar to that place from where the person has migrated, which tells us that there are extrinsic factors that are playing role in causing colorectal cancer, and diet being the most important of them.
So basically the diet, which I will back to your question, to incorporate the whole grain cereal. Now we need to learn the whole grain cereal, because we are totally adapting the foreign culture, and being a dietitian, it's request to my audience, please eat local and seasonal, associated with your root, and that is the balanced diet. Kindly follow that. If we talk about the whole grain cereal, your dalia, your millets, as you were talking about, even your whole wheat flour roti, nowadays there is a trend, then we need to add the bran in wheat flours or in chila and all, because there is a in a wheat flour also, that is a kindly refined flour, so because there is no husk. So there should be a balance in a whole grain cereal. Yes, salads, which basically, if you see your breakfast, so nowadays there is a use of vermicelli, pasta, suji based preparation. So if you are going to grind the suji, that is again the maida, that is just one I will say 1 to 2% best from your refined flour, but again this is a refined thing only. So try to incorporate the whole grain cereals in the form of your jaw or gemu ka dalia, or you can include the more of vegetables in it if you are making any preparation of the suji, and try to incorporate some sprouts and all, so you will get the cooked form of fiber. And whenever you are having your lunch or dinner, or if you are making the vegetable moong dal chila kind of, you can include the vegetable raita. In a dal you can add like palak wali dal.
Thank you so much. So now we know that how to incorporate these things in our diet, and it is also very important to consider that all the things that we hear on the internet, or the emerging trends, or the fad diets that are coming, it is always important to take the expert advice, so that we never go wrong, and we are always having a healthy body, because healthy mind, healthy body, everything is going to be basically increase your longevity. So I thank you both, Dr. Mridul Malhotra and Dietitian Vaishali Verma, for their esteemed advice, and I believe that on the occasion of this Cancer Day, we are learning something new, and we are helping those people who are in need of our help, so that this information reaches to them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.